Hi again then guys, and welcome to the second circuit build of GT Sport 1.50. This is an N300 tune, as you could see from the title, but what that little plus stands for is that you do not have to keep this tune in N300. You can tune it up to a higher category if you want to, because for those who don't know, maybe you haven't checked out my tunes before, the basic idea behind most of them is to focus on the handling and the grip, and then you can adjust the power to whatever level you want yourself. So they're multi-purpose tunes. They're not just designed for one class or one track. They are, as I said, multi-purpose. So with minimal changes, they can be used on a lot of different circumstances. Now, as far as the upgrades go, as I said, it is in N300. So for that you need 93% power. As far as the weight, I've dropped that as low as it can go. Traction control is of course turned off. If you want to use it, there's no shame in that, plenty of real race cars do, but I would suggest trying to learn not to, because it helps you to be a better driver and you will end up faster, especially with a car that's got less power anyway. As far as the tyres, we've got sport softs. Of course, I've explained before why I do that. If you give a car racing tyres, then it's usually only good on racing tyres, whereas if you build it to be good on sports tyres, then racing will be even better. So at least you know it's good on sports as well if you have to use those. And chances are it'll probably be good on comfort tyres as well. Now, as far as the suspension goes, we've got the ride height as low as it can go, which may seem a bit drastic, but I wanted this to feel really like a little race car, like a touring car, actually. You know, one of those fictional Polyphony original race cars, like the Sylvia race car and that kind of thing in the previous games. So that's as low as it can go, really reduces body roll. You might want to increase that maybe a little bit, like 5mm front and rear, if you're, for instance, taking it on a really bumpy circuit, like La Sarthe, for example. As far as the frequency, we've got that on 3.10, which is pretty stiff. Likewise with the anti-roll, 7 and 7 is quite harsh as well. Of course, you can adjust any of these if you want to, either if you know that it doesn't work for you or if you just want to try something different. We've got the compression side of the dampers on 59, with 86 on the rebound, 3 degrees of camber front and rear, which is pretty high, but that's actually fairly similar to what it's got already, and it works well for this car. A lot of stability as well. We've got neutral toe, of course. It does have downforce, which is one of the main reasons why it's even better than the normal FD through corners. And then as far as the diff, of course that's down to you. I've gone for something a little bit different to what I would sometimes do, a little bit more nuanced. 5 on initial torque, 5 on braking, and then 40 on acceleration. I would recommend trying that, see what you think. And the reason why I've set it up that way is because it allows the car to have just a little bit of slide. And that little bit of slide can sometimes help you to get out of a corner a little bit more quickly. So try that out. If you don't like it, then I would recommend lowering the acceleration and improving the braking. So for instance, change it to 5, 5, 30 instead of 5, 40 and 5. So try it those two ways, see which one you prefer. As far as finally the gearbox, of course, as I've said before, if you do give the car more power, you will need to change these numbers. It's the main thing that you do need to change from category to category. So you want the fully customized transmission. I would recommend an auto setting of 180, which is somewhere around 300 kilometers an hour, I believe, or just under. As far as the individual gears, we've got 2.3, 1.7, 1325, 1075, 900, and 750, as you can see, with that final drive of 4.3. And of course, that is optimized more so for N300 than any higher category, so give it a try, change it as necessary. But of course, what you want to see is this car as good and potentially as OP as many of us feel it is or hope it could be? Well, let's take it out on the track and find out. Well, the long and the short of it is, yes, it's very good. Now, to be clear, this is not actually the absolute fastest N300 car I've built so far, but in all fairness, I actually haven't tested all of my N300 cars. For instance, I've never taken the GT40 on this track, so I don't know how that would compare, for example. However, of all of these tunes that I've specifically done and tested on Dragon Trail, there is only one car that's quicker than this in N300, and to no one's surprise, it is of course the Porsche 996 shape GT3. So to be right behind that, and it literally is right behind it, it's like 0.1 of a second behind it, that's, I mean, pretty clearly showing what this car can do. Plus, for many, JDM fans, Japanese fans, RX-7 fans, of course, you'd prefer using this, chances are, over a Porsche anyway. And as far as how to use this car and how to get the best out of it, well, it's fairly simple. The handling is very responsive, it's a surprisingly forgiving car considering how quick it is, and ultimately I think within a lap or two you'll get a pretty nice feel for it. Now, I would say that if you are a less experienced driver, you might find this one easier to use than the Porsche GT3, because of course that's got the rear engine, rear drive layout, it's a Porsche, so of course they kind of have a reputation. This, on the other hand, it really does handle like a little touring car, or a little race car, like a club sport weekend racer kind of thing. So give it a try, see if you like it, of course win plenty of races, and I'd love to hear if you do repurpose it for say N400 or N500, if you find success with the car and of course with the tune. So if you want to check out my other builds, click here on screen on the playlist, and until next time I'll see you then. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.